We've all seen it, right? The flashy car, the designer logos, that picture-perfect life all over social media. But what if all that shine is just hiding a mountain of debt? Well, today we're cutting right through all that noise. We're going to talk about how to stop looking rich and start actually building real, lasting wealth. Let's dive in.
So, let's just start with a really direct question. We've all heard of being house poor, right? But what about this one? Are you, maybe, car poor? Because honestly, it's a trap that more and more people are falling into, and it might just be the single biggest thing holding you back from your financial goals.
So what does car poor actually mean? Well, it's when you've stretched your budget so thin to get a vehicle that the monthly payment basically starts running your life. You can't save, you can't invest, you're pretty much always one surprise bill away from a total disaster.
And just how big is this problem really? Well, look at this number. This is the average monthly payment for a new car in the United States. Just take a second and let that sink in. $745 every single month.
Now, here's why that number is so shocking. A $745 payment is almost 20% of the average person's gross monthly income. To put that in perspective, financial experts say your total transportation costs shouldn't be more than 10%. So we're talking double the safe limit. It's a massive financial leak for millions of people.
So how in the world do people end up here? Well, it usually starts with this psychological trap that I like to call the fake rich illusion. It's this deep down need we sometimes have to project an image of success, even when the reality is anything but.
And this chart really breaks down the difference. See, the fake rich mindset is all about buying the status symbols first, the car, the watch, and just hoping the wealth will follow. They need everyone to know how well they're doing, so they're always talking about money. But the truly wealthy, they play a totally different game. They focus on building income-producing assets first. They don't need to broadcast it. In fact, they value their financial privacy. And they're genuinely happy when others succeed because they're secure in their own position.
Here's a super simple but incredibly powerful rule to keep in your back pocket. Before you make any big purchase, just ask yourself this: could I buy this thing twice in cash without wrecking my finances? If the answer is no, you can't afford it. Simple as that. This isn't about being cheap. It's about making sure your stuff doesn't end up owning you.
Okay, so we get the problem. But the good news is, escaping this trap doesn't involve some kind of complicated, genius-level math. It's really just about taking back control with a simple, straightforward plan.
The solution is actually way simpler than you'd think. Instead of getting bogged down in confusing budgets, all you have to do is focus on 4 key numbers. Just think of it like your own personal financial scorecard. If you track these 4 things, you'll be on the fast track to building real wealth.
So, what are these magic numbers? Well, this is what I call the millionaire's scorecard. These are the exact metrics that people who successfully build wealth are constantly looking at, and you can too.
All right, here they are. First, your savings rate. This is the engine of your wealth. Second, your fixed expenses. These are the costs you've got to get under control. Third, your discretionary spending. This is where your daily choices make a huge difference. And last but definitely not least, the most important number of all, your net worth. Now, a fantastic starting point for those first 3 numbers is the classic 50-30-20 rule. Basically, you aim to have no more than 50% of your take-home pay going to your fixed expenses, your needs. Then at least 20%, that's the magic number, goes straight to savings and investments. The last 30% is for your wants, all that discretionary spending. It's a super simple framework that instantly shows you where your money is really going.
But the ultimate number, your true North Star, is your net worth. This is the one metric that tells the real, unfiltered story of your financial health. It's simple. Everything you own, your assets, minus everything you owe, your liabilities. Forget about a higher salary or a nicer car being the goal. Your real goal is just to make this one number go up consistently over time.
All right, so knowing your numbers is step 1. Now for the fun part. Let's talk about how to actually make them grow. There are 2 incredibly powerful engines for building wealth: systematically investing your money and systematically increasing your income.
If you ever think you need some huge salary to become a millionaire, I want you to remember the name Ronald Read. This guy was a janitor his entire life, but when he passed away, everyone was stunned to find out he'd left behind an $8 million fortune. How on earth did he do it? He lived a simple life, he invested every spare dollar he could find into good stocks, and he just kept doing it for decades.
See, Ronald Read understood the absolute magic of compounding.
And this chart shows exactly why starting early is your biggest superpower. If you start investing just $200 a month at age 25, you could end up with over $620,000 by retirement. But look what happens if you wait just 10 years and start at 35. You end up with less than half of that. That 10-year delay cost you over $300,000. Time really is your most valuable asset. So investing is one massive engine, but the other side of the equation is supercharging your income. I mean, saving more is great, but there's always a limit to how much you can cut back. There is no limit to how much you can earn.
A really brilliant way to do this is something called skill arbitrage. It sounds fancy, but it's a super simple 3-step process. First, you identify a skill you're already pretty good at. Let's say you're the person at work who makes amazing presentations. Okay, second, you repackage that skill. Instead of just doing it for your boss, maybe you offer that service to small business owners who need to pitch investors. And third, you monetize it. You turn that skill into a side hustle. You're just taking something that's undervalued in one place and selling it for a premium somewhere else. It's genius.
So let's bring it all home. The fundamental shift here is moving away from the performance of wealth, the car, the clothes, and focusing completely on the process of building it. You track your 4 numbers, you invest like clockwork, and you find ways to earn more. That's the formula.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. Forget about the big 5-year plan for just a second. What is one small, tangible thing you can do today, right now? Could you calculate your net worth for the very first time? Could you set up a tiny automatic investment? Maybe just identify one skill you could monetize? The journey from fake rich to real wealth, it starts with that one single step.